If you grew up before smartphones, you probably remember this, the little yellow and red box sitting at the drugstore checkout. Kodak film. You bought it, popped it in your camera, and waited to see if the pictures came back. Birthday parties, road trips, awkward school portraits. For decades, a huge share of those memories passed through one company. Kodak didn't just sell film. It sold the chemicals, the paper, even many of the cameras, end-to-end. For most of the 20th century, if you took a photo in America, odds were Kodak touched it somewhere along the way. This was a niche brand. Kodak was what photography felt like, a ritual with a name you actually trusted. And then the company that defined photography filed for bankruptcy in 2012, more than 100 years after it started. Everyone says the same thing: digital killed Kodak. Sure, but that is not the weird part of this story. The weird part is Kodak invented the digital camera in 1975, and management told the engineer to keep quiet about it. This is how Kodak held the future in its hands, chose the safer money instead, and slowly suffocated its own invention. I've got the graphs, and the exact moment a company looked at tomorrow and decided to lock it in a drawer. Let's rewind. Kodak starts in Rochester in 1888, when a former bank clerk named George Eastman had a simple, radical idea. Make photography easy enough for anyone. His slogan said it all: you press the button, we do the rest. In 1900, the Brownie camera arrived for about $1, putting a camera into ordinary hand for the first time. Suddenly, photography was not for professionals anymore. It was for families, tourists, and kids with birthday cake on their faces. Eastman built an empire on one insight: people do not want complicated cameras. They want memories they can keep. His real breakthrough was roll film, photography without heavy glass plates and chemistry sets in your living room. But here is what you really need to understand. Kodak's real genius was never the camera sitting in your hands. Think razors and blades. Kodak practically gave you the razor, the camera, because the real money was in the blades. Film, paper, chemicals. You would buy them again and again, forever. A subscription before anyone used that word. And it worked almost too well. At its peak, Kodak sold roughly 90% of the film in the United States. At its height, Kodak employed about 145,000 people. Rochester was a company town in the truest sense. Revenue climbed into the billions. A Kodak moment was not marketing fluff. It was how people talked about taking pictures. If you lived through the 70s or 80s, Kodak was not a brand you debated. It was infrastructure like electricity, but for memories. Rivals like Fuji chipped away at market share, but Kodak still looked like the safe bet, the default name on the shelf. It owned the color film era too: Kodachrome, Instamatic disposable cameras, layer after layer of repeat purchases. 1-hour photo kiosks, drugstore drop-off, mailers for prints. The whole ecosystem ran on people buying more film. But this next part is where it actually gets dangerous, because the real threat did not come from Japan. It came from inside. 1975, a young Kodak engineer named Steven Sasson. We are not showing his face here because stock search will lie to you. In a back lab, he built something bizarre, a camera with no film at all, just sensors, chips, and a cassette recorder. It was the size of a toaster, weighed nearly 4 kilos, and took 23 seconds to save one fuzzy black and white photo on a tape. Clumsy, slow, almost laughable by today's standards, and absolutely the future. So Sasson showed it to management, and the reaction was, more or less, that is cute, but do not tell anyone about it. It is a bit like a bakery inventing sliced bread, then hiding the machine in the basement because whole loaves pay better. Because a camera that needed no film was a direct threat to the blades that made all the money, and management knew it. For years, hiding it worked. Film profits kept flowing, and the prototype stayed a lab curiosity instead of a product line. Management had a reasonable-sounding excuse. Image quality was bad, memory was expensive, consumers were not ready. But the deeper reason was simpler. Film was still printing money, and any honest digital push would cannibalize the best business in photography. By the 2000s, digital cameras were everywhere, and Kodak was suddenly playing catch-up in a game it had secretly started. And here is the cruel twist most people never hear. Kodak did not fail because its digital cameras were terrible. In 2005, Kodak even sold the most digital cameras in America. Read that again, The company that buried digital also led digital sales. Here is the real issue, and this is where the graph tells the story. Film revenue was already sliding while digital units climbed. Digital cameras could move units. They just could not replace film margins. Without the blades, the razor and blades machine was hollow. Then came the finishing blow, the camera phone. Once a decent camera lived in everyone's pocket, film simply stopped making sense. And this is what makes it so painful. The world was not taking fewer pictures. It was taking more photos than at any point in history. Just not on Kodak's film. The category exploded, and Kodak's old profit engine evaporated anyway. Polaroid fell into a similar trap. A business model built on consumables, blindsided when the consumable disappeared. Kodak kept trying to monetize the old machine while the world moved to pixels. Lots of motion, not enough margin. Film sales did not decline gently. They fell off a cliff, from billions in film revenue to almost nothing in a single decade. Headcount followed the same curve, from 145,000 down to a fraction of that by bankruptcy. A razor and blades machine with no blades left to sell is really just a very expensive factory network waiting to be shut down. In January 2012, after more than 120 years, Eastman Kodak filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Ironically, part of the survival plan was selling digital patents, monetizing the future it had once hidden. It emerged as a smaller commercial printing company, a quiet fraction of the giant that once owned how the world remembered its life. Rochester felt the hangover for years, a city built around an employer that no longer needed 100,000 workers making film. So no, Kodak did not fail to see the future. It invented the future, held it in its hands, and chose the safer money instead. Its own success became the one thing it had to protect, right up until there was nothing left worth protecting. Business schools call it the innovator's dilemma. I call it choosing today's paycheck over tomorrow's survival, until tomorrow arrives angry. The lesson is not that Kodak was stupid. It was profitable, cautious, and organized to defend the product that paid everyone's salary. That is exactly why this story still scares executives. The disruption often starts inside your own building. So let me ask you, could Kodak have gone all in on digital in 1975 without killing its own golden goose? And which company do you think is quietly making the exact same mistake right now? Sitting on a breakthrough it is afraid to ship? Tell me in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, you know what to do.